When you hear the name The Hunchback of Notre Dame, what do you picture? Singing gargoyles? A feel-good animated adventure? Colorful festival numbers? If you grew up on the 1996 Disney adaptation, you'd be forgiven for thinking Victor Hugo's masterpiece was a whimsical tale with a neat, happy ending where the outcast is finally loved by the crowd and everyone dances in the square. But the truth? Disney completely whitewashed a psychological nightmare. They took a blistering, pitch-black French tragedy written in 1831 and slapped a fresh coat of paint on it. Victor Hugo didn't write a children's story about finding inner beauty. He wrote a sprawling, cynical, and deeply brutal critique of 15th century society, religious hypocrisy, and the inescapable cruelty of fate. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on the real Hunchback of Notre Dame, and trust me, nothing about this story survives the night. Let's start with the villain. In the animated film, Judge Claude Frollo is a terrifying zealot, but he is fundamentally a secular judge holding state power. In the original novel, Frollo is an archdeacon of the church, a man of profound intellect, high status, and absolute religious authority who secretly rots from the inside out. Hugo paints Frollo not as a cartoon villain, but as a tragic intellectual. He is a brilliant scholar who has studied philosophy, law, theology, and even alchemy, desperately trying to unlock the secrets of the universe. But his rigid piety cracks under the weight of human desire. When he sets his eyes on Esmeralda, his obsession isn't just a crush, it is a total psychological collapse. And what about Esmeralda? In the book, she isn't an empowered, worldly adult leading a social revolution. She is a 16-year-old Romani street performer, innocent, painfully naive, superstitious, and desperately searching for her birth parents. She carries an amulet around her neck, believing it will lead her back to her family. She is a child caught in the gears of a machine that wants to crush her. Then there is Quasimodo. In the book, his deformity is far more intense than the movie suggests. He is completely deafened by the constant ringing of the cathedral's massive bells, communicates mostly through sign language, and has a massive wart that covers one of his eyes. He isn't just an outcast, he is a creature shaped by isolation, entirely loyal to Frollo because Frollo was the only human being who took him in. When Frollo's lust for Esmeralda spirals out of control, things get dark fast. He doesn't just try to arrest her, he tracks her every move, driven mad by the contradiction between his holy vows and his consuming passion. He even tries to have her kidnapped with Quasimodo's help. And Captain Phoebus? In the Disney film, Phoebus is a noble, righteous hero who defies Frollo for love and justice. In Hugo's novel, Phoebus is a shallow, arrogant playboy. He already has a wealthy fiancée, but he pursues Esmeralda purely for a brief casual affair. When Frollo ambushes and stabs Phoebus out of jealousy, Phoebus cowardly lets Esmeralda take the absolute blame for the murder, riding off without a backward glance. Framed for a murder she didn't commit, Esmeralda is thrown into the dark dungeons of Paris. To extract a confession, the authorities subject her to medieval torture, crushing her legs in wooden boots until the agonizing pain breaks her spirit. Terrified and delirious, she falsely confesses to crimes she never committed just to make the agony stop. She is sentenced to death by hanging. As she is led through the streets of Paris toward the gallows, the crowd screams for blood, entirely blind to her innocence. But just as the noose is about to tighten, Quasimodo swings down from the sky on a cathedral rope, snatching her out of the executioner's hands and roaring the ancient cry of sanctuary, sanctuary, sanctuary. He carries her up into the heights of Notre Dame, where church law protects her from the state. Safe inside the stone walls? Not for long. The Parisian underclass, misunderstanding Quasimodo's actions, launches an all-out assault on Notre Dame to rescue the girl they think is being held captive. The cathedral becomes a war zone. Quasimodo, defending his home and the only person who ever showed him kindness, rains down heavy wooden beams, molten lead, and stones on the attackers below. Amidst the chaos, Frollo slips past the defenses. Using a hidden master key, he sneaks into Esmeralda's sanctuary. He gives her a final, chilling ultimatum. Choose me or choose the gallows. When she recoils in absolute horror, choosing death over him, Frollo hands her over to the authorities to be hanged once and for all. Watching from the high balustrade of the cathedral as Esmeralda is hanged, Quasimodo realizes the truth. The man he worshipped as a father is the monster who killed the woman he loved. In a blind rage of betrayal and grief, Quasimodo sneaks up behind Frollo and hurls him off the roof of Notre Dame. But there are no flying rescues here. Broken and utterly devastated, Quasimodo disappears from the cathedral. Months later, when officials finally locate Esmeralda's mass grave in the execution pits outside Paris, they find a sight that chills them to the bone. Quasimodo had crawled down into the mass grave, wrapped his arms around Esmeralda's corpse, and willingly starved himself to death. When workers try to pull the skeletons apart, both frames instantly crumble into fine dust. That is the true Hunchback of Notre Dame. No talking gargoyles, no happy endings. Just a stark, unforgettable reminder that history and classic literature are rarely wrapped in a bow. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next Dark History Breakdown.